It's officer against officer as the lead victim in the Navy tailhook scandal takes her case to court. In Great Britain, a smoker's death triggers a debate over national health care and who should get treated first. And danger down below. Tonight, Eye on America investigates ugly surprises that can ruin the all-American dream.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather and Connie Chung.
Good evening. Connie's on assignment. Graphic courtroom testimony today in the Navy's tailhook scandal. A female officer described what she called a very frightening sexual assault by a Marine captain. He denies the charge. CBS News Pentagon correspondent Jim Stewart is covering the story.
It was Lieutenant Paula Coughlin who blew the whistle on the Navy's raunchy tailhook convention, and today she faced one of her alleged attackers in court for the first time. Drunken naval and marine aviators grabbed her breast and pulled at her clothing in a Las Vegas hotel hallway, Coughlin testified. They were a bunch of animals in the hallway, she said. I can't believe they would do that to me. Cameras were not permitted in the courtroom, but Coughlin's testimony was virtually identical to what she earlier told CBS in this interview.
This man who grabbed me the first time, I confronted him immediately and said, "What do you think you're doing?" And he just smiled. And he smiled a big, proud smile at me, and I was grabbed again from behind by another person.
The man who first grabbed her, prosecutors say, was Marine Captain Gregory Bonham. Today, Bonham said he didn't do it and doesn't know who did.
There's probably somebody out there who possibly did assault her, and he's quite possibly walked away scot-free. I did nothing to her, and my life's been flipped upside down for the last year and a half.
Bonham's attorneys questioned Coughlin's actions that day, asking her to recite how much she had to drink. Champagne, a screwdriver before dinner, wine with, and margaritas after the incident.
With so much drinking going on, one defense attorney seemed to suggest events could become blurred. How could anyone say for sure exactly what happened? But Lieutenant Coughlin says she's sure all right. She said she was grabbed and fondled repeatedly, and that her attackers, she said, were fellow officers. Investigations following the 1991 convention resulted in a total of 140 cases of alleged officer misconduct. So far, 4 have been referred for court-martial, 39 officers were reprimanded, 8 had their charges dismissed, 3 were granted immunity, and 86 cases remain unresolved, including today's. It's been almost 2 years now since the tailhook convention itself, and critics say justice has not only been slow in coming, but tilted against junior officers. Of the 35 admirals and generals present, none have been charged so far, and only one, in fact, said he saw anything out of the ordinary that night. Jim Stewart, CBS News, Quantico, Virginia.
Michigan Dr. Jack Kevorkian was back in court today, charged with breaking Michigan's new law against helping someone commit suicide. He was released on $100,000 bond. Kevorkian admits assisting at the death earlier this month of a 30-year-old man with Lou Gehrig's disease. The doctor is challenging the state law that was enacted to stop him. Britain's National Health Service is being accused by some people of assisting in the death of a 47-year-old man who died of heart disease last week. A hospital had rejected the man for heart bypass surgery because he smoked. CBS News senior European correspondent Tom Fenton has that story.
Harry Elphick died a few days after these pictures were taken, a victim of cigarettes or of British nationalized medicine, depending on your point of view. After his first heart attack 5 months ago, Elphick sought out treatment but received a short letter from a hospital cardiologist who said, "We would not normally perform these tests on people who smoke cigarettes. Let us know if and when you stop."
And I'm entitled to the National Health. I'm entitled to my treatment. And I think I should, when my turn comes, I think I should get it.
He finally stopped smoking, and tests for heart surgery were scheduled for this Thursday, the day he will be buried. The cardiologist defends the hospital's policy.
We don't take a moral view at all, either on overeating or smoking, or drinking for that matter. It's simply the practicality of doing the operation and the indifferent results of surgery in those patients.
British smokers today were appalled to find that they are sometimes at the bottom of the pecking order for national health care.
If you're not going to treat people who smoke cigarettes, do you then not treat people who drive cars if they're involved in accidents? You know, where do you draw the line in terms of refusal to treat?
Harry Elphick's widow believes he might have lived if he had private health insurance.
I'm very bitter. I'm very bitter. think they should treat people what smoke different to other people what don't smoke. Everybody's entitled to the treatment, whether you smoke or not.
The largest question raised by this case comes at a time when America is considering government-mandated health coverage. When everybody's entitled to health service, but the need outstrips the resources, who goes to the head of the line? That's a problem the British are still struggling with after a half-century of national health care. Clearly, there are no easy answers. Tom Fenton, CBS News, London.
A new report tonight finds that the use of fluoride in drinking water to fight tooth decay poses no major health risks. A panel of the National Academy of Sciences discounted earlier reports that claimed fluoride may cause cancer, kidney disease, or birth defects. The owner of the country's biggest tuxedo maker is tasting the fresh air of freedom tonight after spending almost 2 incredible weeks buried alive as a kidnap victim. Correspondent John Robert tells us how he got there and how he survived.
A former Marine, 68 years old, the millionaire New York businessman looked weak and shaken, but he was alive, surviving 12 torturous days in an underground tomb.
For an individual who spent so many days in the ditch like he did, he seemed to be in very good spirits, physically, mentally.
Weinstein disappeared August 4th after his usual stop at this Queens diner for breakfast. The next day, his family got the first of what was to be 50 ransom calls.
This is the Black Cat organization. We have Harvey Weinstein. We demand $3 million in ransom.
But there was no organization. Police say a company employee and his relatives were behind the kidnapping. He was arrested after the ransom money was picked up. Police and the FBI attempted to track the kidnappers for a week through a frustrating series of aborted ransom drops. Finally, they were tipped to this wooded area near the Hudson River. But while they combed through the underbrush and climbed hills, they still couldn't find Weinstein. Then, they started calling out.
We kept yelling, "Harvey, Harvey," and you could hear in the background, just didn't know where, "I'm here, I'm here."
Digging with their hands, police found the tomb, an 8-foot-deep pit dug out of the dirt. It was only large enough for him to sit or stand in, just 4 by 5 feet wide, covered by a 125-pound metal plate, wooden planks, cobblestones, and holes to let in air. The remnants of Weinstein's only food, fruit and water, still litter his cell.
We can only surmise that he's taken pretty good care of himself and that he pulled all his inner strength together to get him through like this worst-case scenario.
The case echoes the recent kidnapping of Exxon executive Sidney Riso, who died in captivity, proving how at risk high-profile executives can be. Weinstein's family attributes his survival to his being a Marine during World War II. They called him strong, tenacious, and courageous. It's obvious he didn't give up easily. John Roberts, CBS News, New York.
And still to come on tonight's CBS Evening News, Sarajevo. The talk is peace. The scenes are of war. And how do you get from the halls of Congress to the beaches of paradise? Through the lobby.
Why Centrum Silver? Because you're over 50 and you're just hitting your stride. Centrum Silver vitamins. Because the latest scientific research about changing nutritional needs after 50 is built in. Centrum Silver. It's a great time to be silver.
Attention heartburn sufferers.
If antacids work, why do I keep getting heartburn?
You know, frequent heartburn may be a sign of a more serious medical problem. Your doctor has treatment plans that can help.
Frequent heartburn. Isn't it time you talk to your doctor?
Just beneath the surface of your skin, surrounding the cells, that's where the athlete's foot fungus grows. So that's where you have to get to cure your athlete's foot. Mycotin is what you need. Mycotin is specially formulated to penetrate the skin surface with myconazole and kill the annoying fungus right where it starts. So if you want to get rid of your athlete's foot, remember, you've got to penetrate to cure. Mycotin penetrates. Mycotin cures.
Serbian gunners renewed their attacks on the city of Sarajevo today, while peace talks on Bosnia got nowhere. In this country, Senate Republican leader Bob Dole criticized President Clinton's leadership, or lack of it, about Bosnia. Dole said President Clinton is hesitating from afar while Serbian forces destroy a defenseless state.
If we can't help in any other way in Bosnia, at least we ought to lift the arms embargo. And if that threatens any UN troops, take them out. Take them out. Give the Bosnians a chance to defend themselves if nobody else in the world will come to their rescue.
In Geneva, the three sides are trying to split Bosnia into ethnic mini-states, with Sarajevo set apart as a so-called demilitarized open city protected by the United Nations. But as CBS News correspondent Barry Peterson reports, the people of Sarajevo have little faith in the UN's ability to protect them.
War came calling again tonight, a dozen wounded in a mortar attack. It was a reminder that this horrific conflict is fought by soldiers intentionally killing innocent civilians. If Sarajevo becomes a demilitarized zone, if the Serbs are pushed back, this might finally end. But before the UN can take control of the area, its thin blue line needs reinforcements, and that won't happen soon.
It would take months, I would expect. Weeks to months.
At the peace talks, mediators put a notch on their belt.
This is the first time, really, we've got something which is acceptable to all three parties.
In Sarajevo, food allowed in via precarious new convoy routes is now seen as a weapon in the peace talks. The city will eat as long as it makes concessions.
They say, we'll try to send these convoys if you are there so that we can agree on all of this. We have been explicitly blackmailed.
The people of Sarajevo aren't concerned about the fine print. They're just tired of the suffering, of the deprivation, of the dying. Some are willing to accept peace at any price. Even on the Bosnian front line, morale is collapsing, desertions are up. Don't call them peace talks, said one Bosnian. Call them surrender talks. Barry Peterson, CBS News, Sarajevo.
The U.S. State Department is about to formally name another Islamic African state as a sponsor of international terrorism. U.S. officials confirm that, in their opinion, Sudan has become a close ally of Iran and a refuge for violently anti-American Islamic radicals. National Security Correspondent David Martin has the story.
The poor and barren African nation of Sudan may qualify as one of the cruelest places on earth. In addition to widespread starvation brought on by a civil war, the Sudan is about to join Iran, Iraq, Libya, Syria, Cuba, and North Korea on the State Department's short list of governments which support terrorism.
It's gotten still worse in terms of assisting terrorists and giving them safe haven and allowing them to come and go freely and giving them Sudanese passports and relishing it.
Sudan harbors some of the world's worst terrorist organizations, including the infamous Abu Nidal organization and the Iranian-backed Hezbollah, responsible for some of the deadliest attacks against Americans.
There's this deep hatred of the West and the materialism of the West and what the West has done to the Muslim world over the course of centuries as they see it.
5 Sudanese were among 11 suspects arrested in June for plotting to blow up targets in New York, including the United Nations and the tunnels under the Hudson River. But State Department officials say the evidence linking that plot to the Sudanese government is weak and inconclusive, and did not play a role in their decision to place Sudan on the terrorism list.
I'm doubtful that they would try something as far away as the United States because it's too easy to get caught.
Once on the terrorism list, a country can no longer receive foreign or military aid from the U.S., which in the case of Sudan had long since been cut off anyway. The aim is to convince Sudan to give up its support of terrorism. But there is precious little evidence any of the other countries on the list have decided to renounce terrorism. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
Stay with us now for much more of the CBS Evening News, including Eye on America. Tonight, what happens to thousands of people when the American dream turns nightmare?
My baloney has a first name. It's O-S-C-A-R. My baloney has a second name. It's M-A-Y-E-R. Yeah, I love to eat it every day. And if you ask me why, I'll say
you could give your kids a bologna made from less than 100% pure beef or one with fillers. The question is, why would you?
'Cause Oscar Mayer has a way with B-O-L-O-G-N-A.
I used pressure-treated lumber, and I still have $800 in water damage. How come?
Even treated wood needs Thompson's Water Seal Waterproofer. Without Thompson's, you're wide open for water damage. Thompson's. Don't wait until it's too late.
works, there's no cleaner clean than Prel. And now the original cleaner Prel Green is back. Work. Clean. There's no cleaner clean.
Prel Clean. My hemorrhoids hurt so much, I was afraid I needed surgery. But my doctor said they weren't serious, and it's time I used Preparation H.
Preparation H helps relieve the symptoms of inflamed hemorrhoidal tissues, often bringing relief from itching, burning, and painful irritation for hours. Doctor recommended Preparation H.
Eye on America. In-depth daily reports on family, education, crime, the community, and the environment. Only on the CBS Evening News.
NASA is pushing ahead now with plans for a scaled-back space shuttle. It chose the Johnson Space Center in Houston today to oversee the $22 billion project and Boeing to be the prime contractor. NASA hopes to have Space Station Freedom up and running in the year 2000. Well, this is downtime for President Clinton and the First Family, spending a couple of days back home in Arkansas. Hillary Clinton and daughter Chelsea headed down to Beaver Lake today to do some water skiing. The Clintons return to Washington tomorrow, then head to Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts on Thursday for what they say is their first vacation in 4 years. This is also vacation time for members of Congress, too. And in many cases, they'll be traveling for free. The tab picked up by someone expecting more than a postcard. Correspondent Eric Ingberg has tonight's CBS Evening News reality check.
On each side,
Welcome to America's biggest frequent flyer club, the U.S. House of Representatives. The current crop of incumbents last year took 945 all-expense-paid trips, an average of 3 apiece, paid for by lobbyists and other special interests.
Big corporate interests pay for these junkets for the most part, and they get a disproportionate amount of influence on our governmental process.
The top trip sponsors were the Tobacco Lobby, American Medical Association, and the lobbying arms of the broadcasting and telephone industries. According to one representative who refuses to travel at lobbyist expense, the sponsors use the friendly skies to ensure friendly laws.
Just as a judge doesn't meet with one party outside the courtroom, I don't think that members of Congress, as a general rule, should be going on trips with groups that lobby them.
The leading travelers in the House were Schroeder of Colorado, Stenholm of Texas, Waters of California, and Hayes of Louisiana.
These are not luxury trips. They're hard-working trips.
Some of Schroeder's hard work was in vacation paradises like Honolulu, L.A., Boca Raton, and Orlando, accompanied by her family members.
The issue is, am I only allowed to talk to the American people through your TV camera?
There are deeper issues. Charles Stenholm, who chairs a key agriculture committee, accepted 20 free trips from farm lobbyists.
Yes, they get something from me. They get a speech. They get what's inside my mind. I get something from them, too, which is I understand what they are talking about.
John Q. Public can't take a member of Congress on a junket and wine them and dine them away lobbyists can. And in Washington, access like that is influence.
Little wonder, then, that the sun and fun spots of Florida and California were by far the most popular destinations for frequent flying pals. They also hit 27 foreign countries. The Caribbean, Mexico, Paris, and London were the popular stops. Curiously, nobody went to Somalia, Russia, or any Arab country. The rules don't allow lobbyists to give money to congressmen anymore, but they can and do dole out free vacations to representatives who love to fly, and it shows. Eric Engberg, CBS News, Washington.
Hey, you know what they're doing in there? Red Lobster's got this enormous shrimp platter. You get to mix and match 30 shrimp for just $9.99. Choose a combination of grilled shrimp, fried shrimp, or scampi. Mix and match 30 shrimp, but it ends August 22nd.
Today, Dave Ryan will understand the benefits of a little extra protection. Today, Brady Blackwell will come to appreciate a shatter-resistant shampoo bottle. Today, for the first time in years, Sheena Connor's grandpa will be able to walk with less pain. Today will be a better day for a lot of people, simply because of a material we call plastic.
Introducing Ford Taurus and the little things. The design of the Taurus pays close attention to these little things, while its dual airbags and anti-lock brakes pay close attention to these little things. Ford Taurus, America's best-selling car.
They're all angels, but boy, did they make a mess. In my classroom, I have a cabinet full of Brawny. Those thirst pockets are what do the trick. Spill after spill, day after day. At times, I lose it. Sometimes I'd like them to absorb the kids.
Only Brawny has thirst pockets. These unique absorbers make Brawny so good at soaking up spills.
Brawny gets to the mess before the mess gets to you.
How would personal bankruptcy affect your financial future? Plus, a lesson in talking with the teacher and Woody Allen's new movie tomorrow on CBS This Morning with Harry Smith and Paula Zahn.
You fall in love with a house and you're ready to buy, but you're not taking any chances. You check out the roof, the plumbing, everything in the house. But what about the soil outside? What you can't see there could damage your health, physical and financial. Correspondent Frank Courier reports tonight's Eye on America.
Owning a new home may be more than just the American dream.
You could be sitting on dynamite and you don't know it.
Discovering too late what's buried underneath can be a neighborhood nightmare.
It's not only frightening, it's unbelievable that this can happen.
In subdivisions everywhere, homeowners are trapped, their health and property values threatened by a deadly and invisible enemy, environmental contamination.
It's right in our backyard. It's in our whole town, everybody's backyard.
Here in the village of West Chicago, Illinois, developers years ago took tons of dirt from this now defunct chemical plant and spread it around new foundations and yards. Only in recent years did residents realize their soil was poisoned with radioactive thorium.
We have 7 children in a 3-bedroom house, which we can't sell because it's radioactive.
In Sue Smith's block, where no house will sell, parents worried about radiation in their yards send children into the streets to play.
We don't know now whether we've doomed our children. You know, we kind of live with that. Well, we feel a sense of guilt.
John and Kathy Smith cemented over their yard and garden after medical studies linked exposure to thorium with higher rates of cancer. Michael Williams of the Citizens Clearinghouse on Hazardous Waste says radiation is one of many reasons to worry.
Dangerous vapors, polluted water, soil that's contaminated with cancer-causing agents. It's a real problem, and you never know where it's going to strike next.
It struck near Houston. Chemical waste from one of America's most dangerous dump sites forced more than 500 families to abandon this suburban subdivision.
For the life of me, I cannot understand how anybody could still be in this subdivision.
Ron and Nancy Weber were devastated. This house they paid $80,000 for and still own is worthless. Like others here who've since moved away, the Webers were never warned that just beyond their door was a toxic dump that would seep into the area's soil and groundwater.
They knew that it was here. The developers knew it was here when they developed the subdivision.
An aerial photo of the Brio refinery in the early 70s reveals a row of square chemical waste pits. A decade later, the pits are filled in and joined right next door by hundreds of new houses.
EPA said, there is no problem, everything stops at the fence line. It's a magical fence.
Marie Flickinger, a newspaper editor, crusades for parents who are convinced of a horrible link between the chemicals and a wave of neighborhood birth defects.
Anybody that has children, to me, has absolutely no business living in the subdivision.
Jim and Cheryl Finley's 2 youngest children were born with defects. Their daughter has no ovaries. They're among the families who settled out of court with developers for more than $200 million.
Pain is always there. It'll always be there.
Every time I look at my daughter, I will always remember what happened.
It's not just chemicals and radiation in the soil that puts families and fortunes at risk. Environmental contamination threatens the safety of our homes in more insidious ways. In an affluent Washington, D.C. subdivision this year, families were evacuated after work crews unearthed a dangerous World War I ammunition dump where the Army buried live artillery and mortar rounds.
That's the last thing we expected, dogs that barked and bad neighbors, but you don't expect bombs to be underneath the ground.
And in Savannah, Georgia, 44 families were forced to move out of this new development in 1991 after explosive methane gas began bubbling up around foundations.
We've lost everything, and I don't know what it's going to take to ever get it back.
With floors and walls cracking, whole houses started sinking. The developer had built directly over an old landfill piled with rotting tree stumps and scrap lumber.
Have your yard checked before you buy the property, because once you know you have it, you are stuck like we are.
As the EPA struggles to clean up the mess, hidden dangers remain. For with thousands of still undiscovered dump sites, it's not what homeowners know, but what they don't see that can kill the American dream. In Savannah, Georgia, Frank Currier for Eye on America.
And that's part of our world tonight. Coming up tomorrow on CBS This Morning, the Clinton health care plan. Harry Smith and Paula Zahn will have the case for and against what's called managed health care. Connie Chung has been working on some stories in the field early this week, but she'll be with us tomorrow night. For Connie and for all of us at the CBS Evening News, Dan Rather, thank you for choosing CBS. Good night.
Okay, here's a real nightmare. Imagine a stove made of glass. What a greasy mess. But it's the perfect job for new Glass and Surface Windex Clear. See, some all-purpose cleaners leave a cloudy residue. New Windex Clear has a unique degreasing formula for a clean that's crystal clear. So say goodbye to cloudy residue, now for all your surfaces. There's new Glass and Surface Windex Clear for a clean as clear as glass from S.C. Johnson Wax.
The Buick LeSabre, Family Circle Magazine's Domestic Family Car of the Year. LeSabre won by finishing first in important family categories like value, comfort, dealer satisfaction, performance, safety, style, and of course, dependability. Buick LeSabre, a welcome addition to the American family.
Why is Tux Medicated Pads the brand of hemorrhoid relief hospitals trust most? Because when hemorrhoids flare up, Tux provides soothing, cooling relief on contact. Tux, the brand hospitals trust most.
Day after day, you make those glasses of thick Metamucil disappear. Why not make them all disappear with Fibercon? Doctor-recommended Fibercon gives you the same fiber regularity in tablets.
Easy to swallow tablets.
Get doctor-recommended Fibercon.
So frustrating. I don't know why we can't get the receptor to come. Are you done with...
Most people think we make medicines. Actually, our job is to find them.
I'm going to lunch. You coming? No, I want to get this gel running. I'll see you down there then.
On the brink of discovery, Glaxo.
Yes, there it is.
Experience CBS News. Ripping off seniors' retirement money. It's cruel, and it's happening more and more often. Just ask this man.
It looked very legitimate. It was a non-existent entity.
So before you hand over your hard-earned savings to anyone, see The Money Crunch tomorrow on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather and Connie Chung. The people of CBS News. Dan Rather,
Connie Chung,
Ed Bradley,
Mike Wallace,
Leslie Stahl,
Morley Safer,
Steve Croft,
Andy Rooney,
and Charles Carroll.
Experience
CBS News. This is CBS.